supposed to be somewhat knowledgeable, and I'm sitting on my phone on the app trying to figure when their next train is.
You know when it was? Did you finally?
It wasn't gonna be for like 45 minutes or something like that, to an hour. So by that time I figured that out, they were already getting out, so I don't know what the hell they did. It was, 4 people, it was 2 kids and 2 adults. I don't know what they got off, and I just went on my merry way. But, I mean, I don't know, like, I'm actually kind of curious. Well, you said you saw a report on that one yesterday, so it was reported. It was reported on social media for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just wondering if the crew actually reported it to you guys, or whoever.
Well, there was the one that Jerry, they got caught, remember that they canceled the train, and then at Babylon, there was no connection.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one, yeah.
And that day, we had the buses at Babylon, but
That's what made everybody crazy. You're looking down, you see the buses, and it's
they
like.
didn't know that happened, so the buses weren't even used
Yeah.
that day.
When you have buses at these other stations, are they manned? Do they have a driver in them already, just in case?
Oh, no, the buses have the drivers, but then, they need to be dispatched by somebody. They're waiting to be told.
Yeah, we have our
what to do.
stations
Oh, okay.
people handling them to dispatch them.
What else you got, Jerry, on the list?
But again, there have been some good signs with the communications. It's not all negative.
Well, if nothing else, I mean, I think most or a lot of what you talked about, we're working on. And believe me, I wish I could fix them faster than we are, but we are working on them. And each of those have a different plan in place. And I think the challenge we're going to have is with that many employees, each one, as you say, has a different approach to how they treat the customer, and we're going to have to look at that too. One of the things we want to do, and it's not saying that they're wrong in how they do it, but after the busy construction season and we don't have so much construction and flagging ongoing, we want to bring our conductors in and we want to talk to them about Long Island Railroad, big picture. We'll actually also talk about all the major work going on so they can be better. And they probably already know a lot of this, but I think it's good for them to be aware of all the projects and the benefits of it, so when people have questions, and then really so they can hear directly from me and the senior leadership on what we're looking to do and why we're looking to do it and how they're a critical component, because that little bit of compassion when we've just ruined somebody's commute is a big deal. It's just not the canned answer of, as you say, where we may have inconvenienced you. Actually, right the other day was saying, may have inconvenienced you, it drives them nuts, and maybe that's a legal term because we inconvenienced you, but you just delayed them 30 minutes, it's got to inconvenience.
And sometimes it's the small thing. One of the things I did want to thank you for is, because I ride the Montauk branch and I'm out there with the idiots and all their luggage and all this other stuff. And I know you've had the announcements about, leave the big stuff home, put it off the rack. But for the first time last Friday, I was catching the 617 out of Jamaica, and they announced over the loudspeaker, very clear, very nice, very clear but very concise, either put it in the overhead rack, if it doesn't fit in the overhead rack, put it underneath. And then he mentioned, and if you can't fit under your seat, we have luggage racks at the back of each car. A lot of people don't realize that, especially, the airplanes going out there. On the diesels, on the double deckers, we do have some storage area in the back that could take the larger. A lot of people really didn't know that, and even for some of the regulars, it was a reminder that you had that. That was perfect. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for. Those kind of reminders, especially to the occasional rider,
We are getting, and it's a matter of being more consistent, but the conductors are really stepping up. We are hearing ourselves better announcements. There are times where, we sat down with the union and we talked about the need where you have short platforms and how we better messaging to tell people which cars to be in. So I can't remember what it was, but we started to hear in Jamaica, the announcement would say, you can get out here and walk up on the platform. It's easier to walk up to the front 4 cars if you're exiting at X, Y, and Z. And that's I think a positive step to say, you don't have to pass through the inside of the car. You can actually change at Jamaica and just walk up, and we'll wait.
Oh, one of the best things that I heard recently from a train crew was, because some of the Hamptons-bound trains get overloaded in the front and there's room in the back. And they announce, go out on the platform, walk back, we will wait for you. You know, it's 2 or 3 minutes, we will wait for you. It meant a world of difference, because people actually walk back like civilized people, rather than trying to climb over everybody's luggage.
Yeah.
Because it's just a tendency of how the trains come into Jamaica. If you have an 8-car train going out to the Hamptons, the first 5 or 6 cars jammed, and then cars 7 and 8, you know, have plenty of room, even on, you know, on Friday afternoons. So I mean, that was important, just to let people know they could walk back, and there is room in the back, you know, please move, but people need to know that.
So where we know there's crowding issues, we're trying to address quickly. I mean, one of the things we recently announced was adding 2 car-linked platforms to Forest Hills and Kew Gardens. And it's using a similar design that was at Shinnecock, but you know what? I think making it a 6-car platform will be huge. So the people that are squeezing in those 4 cars in Penn can now, you know, spread out a little bit. And I think it will also speed up because it'll allow people to enter and exit a little more quickly.
Well, another benefit to that, not the big concert goers, because they have the concerts at Forest Hills, and you do get the extra traffic. When you get a concert full of people trying to all get off on 4 cars, it's
So, I mean, that
it's a
was
lot easier to get off
something
on
that
6.
some customers had raised some concerns about the crowding. And we sat down and we said, you know, what can we do? And this is something we're doing. And the work has started. And, you know, I said, I'm not waiting for another capital program to do it. Let's do something. If we can do something to alleviate, we should do it now. I know that doesn't affect the whole system, but it affects, you know, one area.
Well, it's on the main line. Another thing that happens is if you're on a train that stops there, people are walking up through the train and it delays.
It does delay.
The train's blocking a main line track while
Yeah.
you're waiting for people to get off.
So we'll help that.
So I
sure.
can't, you know, it's the main line and it's got capacity, so having a train dwell time another 3 minutes is bad for the railroad.
So anyway, it's just
I was
another
happy to see
example of
that.
us trying to do things and show that we're doing things where we can. And, you know, I know there's still a lot of folks who are disappointed in the railroad, but we're really doing what we said we would do. It's just we've had some unfortunate incidents, and yes, our response could always be better. Even when it's good, it can be better, and that's what we're going to keep pushing ourselves.
One thing that I found that has gotten better, as a positive note, is the announcement at the station of when a train is coming. The timing has gotten a lot better, because we used to say, the train will be there in 1 minute. 1 minute. It's like 5 minutes later. And it's now gotten that it's pretty, at least at Belmore, where I come from, it's actually gotten a lot better. I don't know if you're finding it, if you're getting the message, but I found that the timing has gotten.
And we're still, I think we're in the final stages of upgrading GPS, and that should make it even more exact. And we're working to figure out how to give that information to our customers too.
Yeah, well, you got the verbal announcement, you guys say, track 1 in 1 minute.
So, we realize how important that is.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Jerry.
Go.
If it's okay.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you very much for coming. I'm Matthew Kessler, I'm the former Vice Chair of the Council. I had a couple of questions, if I may. If I'm repeating myself, forgive me, I may have not heard some of the other councilors. First question I have is this quiet car enforcement. There seems to be an issue with the quiet car. People either they know they're in the quiet car or they don't, and those that don't, they are told by other passengers in the quiet car, their reaction is extremely, ranges from hostile to, okay, so I'm talking. There's a question of enforcement. I wanted to know if you know about it or if there's anything to be done to enhance the enforcement situation in the quiet car.
You know, we'll look at it. I know I've heard that concern before, and I don't have an answer for you right now. And it's one of those things where, how do we get our customers to treat each other with more respect? And not have, you know, it's the same thing with leaving their litter behind or piling onto the train with 6 cans of beer or something, and you know, it's And you know, what's interesting is as bad as social media is to us, they're pretty bad to each other.
Oh, yeah,
And I really,
80% of it is
it's a
that,
shame
yeah.
that we've gotten to that point.
Well, people get, it's a way for people to vent, but it's, everyone sees you venting.
So we'll look at it,
It's awful.
we're gonna continue to try a courtesy counts program, and so we'll look at that.
Well, let's follow up on what Matt said. One part of the confusion is there have been some conductors that have told passengers, it's a suggestion. You know, the quiet car is a suggestion, it's not there's nothing we can mandate, it's just, it's a suggestion that use these cars and we're relying on the customers to be kind to each other. And that's,
Technically,
Well, one of the,
technically they're right, Jerry, it's not part of the rules.
oh, no, well, that's the point I was just trying to make,
Yeah.
and, you know,
Same thing with bags on seats, feet on seats,
Yeah.
and, it is a challenge, I realize that.
well, one of the lady conductors yesterday, or is it probably the day before yesterday, there was somebody who was wearing headphones that you could hear a block away. I mean, it's like, if I can hear it sitting 6 feet, I can only imagine what this guy's brain must be liquid, how the level it was. And she actually asked him to turn it down, and he did, without even question. She said, could you turn that down, it's kind of annoying. I was like, oh yeah, that was that.
Well, some people are, some people realize.
You gotta get those quiet cards.
Yeah, remember those, the shush cards?
cards.
The shush cards.
I use them in meetings, actually. I
I
kind
wonder if
of,
we could just make a general announcement, please, you know,
They used to do
courtesy
that.
is contagious.
They used to say that
Courtesy
but the
is
last
better.
car
Yeah.
is whatever.
I forgot, I think that was courtesy is
About the quiet
contagious.
We could ask that.
The transit, they have announcements. Courtesy is contagious. They use.
Yeah, I think
People-
didn't they
people
used to-
frown and
didn't they used to
laugh,
do
but-
announcements on the trains.
When
Right.
I drove this up there several years ago, they had a number throughout their fleet, they had signs saying which was the quiet car. That's something you may want to take consideration.
Where's my quiet cards? They go to meetings.
Do you really have it in your
Yes, I
bag?
have another one.
No,
It's a
I
bit
don't, not
more
anymore. I
short,
know,
short,
I must use them up.
It seems that there's issues with conductors and passengers, in terms of passenger.
They gave one to Freddie for all.
What's happened with the passengers? A friend of mine went to Mineola with the idea of getting on an old-peak train. He gets on the train because it arrived at that time, and he showed an off-peak ticket to the conductor. He said, "Oh no, this is a peak ticket. This is a peak train," and he was supposed to pay a step-up fare. So that seems to be an issue with some people where the train is delayed for whatever reason, and then when it comes into another station, and the passengers believe they're getting on an off-peak train, they're being told they have to pay a step-up fare. So that's a communication.
Well, it's a tariff issue, because that's the way it's.
Yeah, but if someone is coming on with based on the schedule, it says off-peak, and you've got a train that's delayed for whatever reason, it's still continuing on.
But the definition of peak trains are based on the destination or the terminal time, either terminal departure or terminal or arrival, scheduled arrival time. Maybe that's something that the board has to, or the staff needs to make
I wonder if
change that.
on the signs they can say, even if it's half an hour late, peak, maybe you could say, you know, I don't think it says peak off peak on the arrival signs.
It says it like in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Does
And
it?
then
I think Jamaica, I think it
Uh,
says it's like green or something. It's,
Yeah, the terminal at the end, I don't know if it's.
But I don't think Mineola has it.
It does say peak
Yeah,
off
I think
peak.
it's one
It
of
just
the
says track.
Trains that are close to the board, I've heard conductors make those announcements.
Yeah.
This is a peak train, this is an off-peak train.
Yeah.
But if you're going for the off-peak and you were delayed, now you're
Yeah.
caught into a peak, you
Right.
pay the peak fare.
Yeah.
And how do you
Yeah.
delineate that?
I think
Yeah.
technically the
Yeah.
conductor is doing what he or she should be doing.
Yeah, yeah.
But I understand what you're saying from a customer's
Yeah.
perspective is that,
It's not my fault, it's like insult to injury. I'm trying to take an off-peak train, oh, there's a delay, you're gonna charge me more? I mean, you can imagine the feeling
Yeah.
from a
Well,
customer.
we brought this up in the past also, when she was on the council, she brought this up.
I gotta laugh at that, that's.
There was an issue where, I'm not saying that the conductor's not doing his job, what I am saying is that how is the passenger who's getting on the train, thinking it's an off-peak, finds out it's a peak, and now he's supposed to walk.
I understand. We'll talk about it, we will.
Thank you very much.
I've got a question for you. Sorry, not you. In Belmont, what's the time frame of the work? Because everyone's asking me and I don't know what the answer is.
Before the end of the year.
Oh, so it's
I
gonna
don't know
go,
the-
it's
I don't
gonna go
know-
until December, you think?
It's probably before, I'm just saying that to cover myself, but I know it's, each station, once they close it, it's gonna be like 2 or 3 months. So I know they.
We're talking in regard to the Belmore redo
Yeah.
station.
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone's asking me and I don't know how long it's gonna take.
It's kind of design build, so it's not exact times, but it should be done before the end of the year.
You still have platform there, right?
No,
Well,
this is a station building.
Oh, station building. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, they've closed, it's like a traffic nightmare now there because they've closed.
A lane, yeah, one of the drop-off lane kind of.
Yeah, well, they crashed that down.
Right.
They closed the ticket office today, I think, it was yesterday or today. And now it's an out shed, whatever they call it.
Trailer.
Trailer. I was gonna say caboose. Trailer now.
All right, since it's about 5:30, we just have a few other things. Just jump on what's left on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, chair's report I just sent around for everybody to read rather than.
Yeah, you have to leave with the.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
might
no.
have to get him somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, please, no,
Great,
let's get the rest
appreciate
of
you
our
coming
meeting.
out. Great.
All right.
Thank
It
you.
was
Well,
such a pleasure to meet
thanks
you.
for coming.
Again.
Jerry.
Jerry,
Jump,
Natasha.
Thank you so much for coming, sir.
That was able to come in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that-
Thanks a lot, Bill, for
is that
coming
your
again.
bag?
Oh, that's
No
fine.
problem.
That's your
Yeah.
bag, okay.
My
We'll
schedule
take your
fits, I
bag.
don't mind
Sure,
coming.
hey, we'll take
Just
that.
keep you guys abreast of what's
Next,
going on.
My pleasure to meet you, Natasha.
He should.
Hi, nice to
If
meet
he's
you.
available, I don't know.
I've got him working on a number of initiatives that I've been pushing.
staff.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll
You
stay
good,
with
Hector?
you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
You can trust Hector with us, we won't.
Yes, I will.
Well,
No, you're.
He knows more than me anyway, so don't worry. Oh, that's our recording, isn't it?
It's on tape now.
Have to be on
You
the
guys.
internet at some
Take
point.
care.
Nice to see you.
Okay.
Nice to see
Take
you.
care, everyone.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Okay, Ira, you're up. Board report.
Board report, okay, I don't think last month I mentioned this, the Nassau County, our Nassau County representative on the board resigned
Okay,
in
so
June,
Yeah.
and there was no replacement. The replacement was not made, the governor didn't, I don't know,
Right,
sent
there
down the
were
nomination of the.
There were recommendations.
There were
made, but
recommendations,
those
I don't know what-
they weren't accepted. Let's put it
That's
that
why,
way.
whether it was sent to the, I don't know. So, I just so people know, there's no one from the Nassau County executive that's gonna be on the board until probably June of next year. I mean, that's usually when the Senate confirms, so that's
Yeah, end of discussion.
that's an issue. As far as the board cycle and what's going on, you know, positive train control is still plugging along there. Just so people know, December's the deadline for there to be for one branch to be operative. That's the rule, that's the FRA rule, and then after that, you proceed with the other things. So the branch supposed to be operative for the one railroad is the Port Washington branch, and right now they're on track to do that. That does not mean, by the way, and I bring this up at every meeting, that does not mean Harold interlocking, even the Port Washington branch section of it. It does not mean into Penn Station. That's actually responsibility of Amtrak, who's running around saying things like, if a commuter railroad, anywhere up and down the east, does not have PTC available, we're not going to let them operate over us. Meanwhile, Amtrak in its busiest section of railroad does not have PTC available, and probably won't because of the complexities of Harold, and also interoperability with Long Island Railroad and even New Jersey Transit probably won't be available for a year or two. Not that that's, you know, I don't think PTC offers that much additional safety anyway, but if there's a place you'd really want to have it, it probably is around Harold. But I just thought that was something that should be noted regarding Amtrak. As far as the thing that we care most about, which is on-time performance, right? The railroad started doing this just this month. They have a one-page performance summary, which I think is very good. There's a list of which I go through, of course. The on-time performance, late trains. You know, you could look at your branch. You know, they report, I don't know why they keep doing this, every month or whatever, every so often in Train Talk or whatever. What's our newsletter called?
Yeah, they changed the name.
Yeah.
I never see it, it doesn't matter, but
Train
I
talk,
get-
we know what you're talking about.
by the time I get on the train, it's not there, so it doesn't, I see it sometimes online, but to drill down to the statistics, you'll see that as it says here, 3 out of 11 branches operating at or above goal. That's 3 out of 11. Most branches aren't operating at goal. And it's, as I said, the railroad's not meeting its on-time performance goals, and filling would be pleased, not pleased, but he certainly admits that and says they got to do more. So it's, you know, that's still an ongoing issue, and some of them severely. There was severe, I think Oyster Bay, Montauk's always bad,
Yeah.
Port Jefferson always has a
Well,
problem.
on the train talk, all you see is 95.6.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's a mistake. They shouldn't even put it out at all.
Agreed.
Because it looks like, although, 90%, which sounds good, is not good enough. I mean, that's something we have to
Right,
really
but you gotta remember,
understand.
that's counting all the off-peak trains. That's-
Right, exactly, yes, it's an average, and that's a bad thing. The other problem that Railroad's been having is actually with the diesel fleet again, I noticed this. And they did note it, and they did say that their active program to replace old motors with newly rebuilt motors was the electric motors on the diesel fleet are old and out of date. They didn't, apparently they were behind in replacing them, so hopefully in a couple of months, the diesel fleet will be, I don't know if you've had any problems with failures of trains.
No,
But it's been higher than it's been in a long time, I know that. So that's a problem that they say they're addressing it. I mean, overall, East Side Access is in a better place for the time being. The big problem was dealing with Amtrak and trying to get Amtrak to commit crews and time, and that was one of the problems. There's a lot of others, but that was the current problem. That's apparently improved. So East Side Access is still hopefully done by 2022. Really 2020, January 2023 is really the date. It'll be like December. And that'll be overall good thing for most passengers on the railroad. And there's still that Brooklyn issue which we're trying to resolve. So I mean, there's nothing else really that's pressing or anything. We know what service is like and the situation we're dealing with. So
Okay. Staff report, Bill, anything that?
Yeah, let's see. We've talked, Mark and I have talked about having, because we have a lot of issues and they added to it in last week or so. We have talked about doing a September meeting. And I just wanted we'll get around, but I just wanted to get the sense of whether our normal meeting day that we will not be, that we don't meet in PCAC months, the second Thursday of September would work for people, or
Works for me. I can't speak for everybody else.
we'll get something out on that, but
I will be there.
I know there's and I know it's it's not convenient. So this won't be my last LIRRCC meeting, which it would have been.
So you're
Well,
talking
your
about,
last
one of
day
the
is
reasons we
the
wanted to
first
have
week in
a
October,
September.
right?
Yeah.
are you talking about
So if we have a
September?
meeting, it would be,
Yeah.
You're
We'll
talking
be-
about here on the 13th?
I'd be, I mean, I'll technically still be employed by the MTA, but I'm gonna take vacation days that week.
Are you talking about September
Just to
13th? Is
finish
that the
up.
day you're talking, second Thursday?
Yeah, second Thursday.
Is there anything about that time? Is there any holidays or something that we don't know about?
I mean, I don't think so.
That-
I think.
Rosh-
are we-
Well, Rosh Hashanah
But the
is
week after,
10/11.
Yeah, it's later. I was gonna
Rosh
say.
Hashanah is earlier, 10/11. He's talking about doing 13, which I will not be at. Yom Kippur's the 19th.
Oh, Rosh Hashanah is on the 10th? Oh, okay. I must have a look at it. Thank you for the calendar. Okay.
That's a people's court calendar.
Oh, wonderful. People's Court.
And
Oh, you're doing that?
I'm the chief engineer for the show.
You are? Oh, we have to talk.
Yes, sir, Judge.
And Bill,
Yeah, that's right. You give us some pointers.
Judge Ira, ruling with an iron fist.
so Bill, how is the now nominations going for your replacement?
Nomination, yeah, we actually have, next Tuesday, are the first interviews. Got a couple of people scheduled to come in, next Tuesday, so, I think potentially 3 if we get them all. I think we're still open for another, I think it's another week or into the next week. The position's still open, so we're still getting some resumes.
I don't know if Mark can make, I can't make that, I'll be away. Did Mark say whether you can make that meeting?
I don't know if he's responded or not.
Jerry, what's your plan?
What'd you say?
I don't know if he's responded. I mean, there's,
Jerry,
nobody's getting hired Tuesday, so.
No, I know that, I
Yeah,
just
I mean,
think there
yeah.
should be someone there from our council.
No, I think it's.
At the interview.
I think it'd be good if we, we could, and, I'll talk to Mark and see what,
Yeah,
tomorrow,
okay.
and see what his availability is, and if,
Because I can't, as you know, I can't. so
if you can't, maybe somebody else can
I'll be
step
out
in.
of town. Yeah, and I don't think
And
Mark can make it to, maybe he can make it to half a day, so maybe they could.
No, it's not gonna be a full day. It's not gonna be a full, I mean, it's gonna be 2 or 3.
4 people.
Now, what about you? Are you resigning, or what are you?
From what?
Are you gonna?
I can't stay.
That's
I'm
why
not
he-
allowed, I'm not allowed to do anything.
That's why he wants to talk about the People's Court.
I would, no, that's, I would not
Yeah.
take, I would not take a lead from those
A
judges.
person who has a judgeship has certain ethical.
No, you're
ethical
restricted, you can't make
restrictions.
comments on anything, you can't, I can't even, free speech does not apply to judges.
Yeah,
For
so.
some,
So you can't be on this committee either?
I can, no, I can't be on this, I can't be on the board, I can't be on the community board, oh, break my heart.
Oh, God.
Look at all the things you're gonna lose.
But who will approve the,
But he
who
can't send
will
everyone to the chair.
recommend the stop signs without you, without the community board?
I'd have the city say no, I don't know.
Yeah.
How many things can we vote against in the city to say, you know, city to turn around? How many zoning things can I vote no on?
Oh, so much change happening here. I don't know.
But
Change is a
anyway,
good
yeah,
thing.
no, that's where we are right now, you know,
Haven't I been around long enough?
um,
Find somebody else.
yeah, that's where we are. We're starting the interviews. I'll talk to Mark and see, make sure that he, you know, I don't think he's indicated whether he can make it, at least to me, at least.
That means he can't.
Yeah.
That's how I
yeah.
interpret that.
Ellen has sort of been, you know, for sort of obvious reasons of comfort and everything, I've been sort of staying a step back from this, because, you know.
Why? You're leaving.
Yeah, I know, but you know, you don't, I mean, I'll be there at
Doesn't
the
rock the
interview.
boat.
I'll be there at the interviews, but I'm, you know, but other people can take the lead on it, because you don't really want to have the guy you're replacing interview you.
Sure you do.
Necessarily.
You're not being
Well,
fired, you're just leaving on your own.
I know.
no, I think it's important that you be there and you have input.
No, and I will.
Okay.
I mean, I will give it, I just, you know, I think it's better if like Andrew takes the lead on.
Well, yeah, well.
Because you guys are hiring them.
Yes.
I don't have to live, I don't have to live with them, you do. So, you know. I mean,
That's a good way to put it.
Nice way to put it, huh?
You know, that's,
But having been in the position,
when it comes down to it, no, I'll certainly be there at the interview and I'll give input.
okay.
You know, that's not, you know,
Well, you're gonna call into the meetings, or you need to leave, right?
I'd even call Beverly and have her
yeah,
come.
You know, you could have a, you know, you can maybe even get a video link set up, so. I'll Skype into the meetings.
Yeah, there we go.
From the beach and
Yeah,
behind.
anyway.
All right, anything else, Bill, or is that?
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna say is just a couple issues that came up. I mean, you know, Port Washington obviously has taken a beating this last week, and we had a comment on that, just that the services is just horrible. Plus, you know, you have the weekends too, where they've been running the PTC tests. So it's a lot of times, instead of 2 trains an hour, it's 1 train an hour on the weekends. It's you know, understandable.
Another
People are
benefit
upset
to
about it.
PTC, reduced service.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
just
right,
go ahead.
that's right.
I don't wanna get.
You know,
it's a sore
and
point
you
for
know,
me.
the signal problems obviously are a cause of a lot of the issues that are out there, and
I'm living signal problem.
people are sort of fed up with that.
on the subway.
LIRR hasn't been answering their letters. I think they are catching up on sort of a backlog. We just recently got, I think I passed, if anybody didn't get that, I'll get you a copy of it, but we got a response to some questions about Second Track, and I've heard they're catching up on a backlog, but we had somebody talk about that. And then
Hold on a second. But when a letter goes to the railroad, Hector, is that your department that answers that, or is it somebody else?
I mean, it's part of the Greater Public Affairs Department, so,
But it's not you, it's not you.
no, some of them, like if it's a letter come from like, say, from you guys or from elected officials, then they're on.
Let's say Joe Blow commuter, when he sends a letter to the railroad, where does it go? Other than the round bin? Where's it supposed to go? But if somebody sends a complaint letter, I'm serious
So
question.
letters, emails,
Mhm.
phone calls, customer comment cards, they all come to it's called our corporate communications. They're in the JCC building.
Yeah.
Everything is filtered through there. So,
All right, I'm just curious, it was a serious question.
so somebody it gets assigned to somebody and they have to research it and then they respond. So there's a little bit of a backlog. So they try to respond within 2 weeks.
Who
3
signs
weeks.
the response?
It depends on who's writing the letter.
Oh,
So-
that means what the letter's about.
Yeah.
No, like, so if Mark writes a letter, or the commuter, or
Right.
like elected official, then it comes under Phil's signature.
Okay.
Or Susan McGowan's signature,
Right.
or Tom, or, you know,
Right,
a
top
different manager,
person.
depending on.
But if it's just Joe Commuter,
I mean, if it's just an email from Joe Commuter, then one of our managers would just respond.
okay.
Right, yeah, and we get that response too, and, you know, who is this, John guy that wrote me
But
this letter.
they always put like their, either
No,
their
no,
initials and their
no,
last
I know,
name,
they
like,
have
it's not they don't get an anonymous response, like.
No,
it's-
they
it's
don't,
under
they get a real
Oh,
response with a real
No, I know.
name. They get a real response with
It's
a
always
real
a-
name,
it's a
they just
person.
don't, they just don't, I mean, we've had that in the past where people didn't understand, who is this person that wrote to me and what do they do at the railroad? You know, even if they give a title, it's not necessarily clear to
To
them.
me, it's the content of the response that's the most
But
important.
then some things, like say some things,
Signed.
even though somebody writes a thing, then
Yeah,
it'll come to me and then say it was a community issue about a parking lot or about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it'll come to me and then either me or one of our staff, we'll go out and do a site visit or coordinate with the village or the town,
Yeah.
or we'll meet with the residents, so we get involved depending on what the issue is. If it's
Yeah.
just a
I see,
powerful
that can
policy.
take time.
Right. The last thing I'd bring up, that we did get somebody did write in and say, there's just not enough notice on temporary platforms, and they brought up what their issue was,
They're right. Yes.
Woodside, when there are Mets games, and people come down to get back to Board of Train,
Yes.
you go back to the Mets game, and all hell is broken loose, the train isn't where it was on a normal basis, so they have to find their way around.
Shocking that anyone's going to Mets games, but they are.
Yeah, well, you get T-shirts on Friday. That's why they go.
That's what they do,
You know,
No, but I was on the crowded on our railroad train with a bunch of Mets fans on there.
During the lightning strike the other night,
Yeah.
I think we had like 1,000 people that had gone to the Mets game.
Oh, wow.
So we were worried about getting them home.
Well, 1,000 people isn't a lot.
Alrighty,
yeah,
you good,
People
Bill?
are going.
yeah, I'm good.
Alright, member reports, I think we kinda hit, Larry, anything? Ma'am? No.
Well, the only I'll just say, just for what it's worth, in Belmore, there was a whole parking riot there the other day. I don't even know if you heard about that one. Because what's happening is that the local town enforcement person, who I shall be nameless and will not put a name to it, is writing tickets like mad, and the health club that's there. People are parking in the lot to go to the health club, and they were getting $130 tickets because they don't have permits. So all hell has been broken
What a
loose.
surcharge for the health club. But does that help Long Island Railroad riders then?
Well,
Yeah,
it actually
keeps
takes
helping.
spots.
Yeah, because if somebody goes to the gym in the morning.
No, I know, but.
If somebody goes to the gym at
Oh.
6 a.m. in the morning,
Well,
Right, and then gets on the railroad.
No, the
no, they go to the gym at 6 o'clock and they're parking, because that's the parking lot.
Just for the gym.
Just for the gym for an hour, and
Yeah, well,
the
that's not
parking-
right.
The parking lady goes, because they don't have a permit to park in that lot, $130
So
fine.
do we have a problem with that?
I don't.
It helps a commuter that wants to go at night.
No. Well, but no, what
Yeah,
do you,
that's
Larry, what do you
Keep
think?
the space warm.
Well, what do I think? Well, they have their own parking lot, they should redo their parking lot. or
All right,
whatever,
so
you
the
know?
people,
Exactly.
they can pay the fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just
How much is the gym membership? Do you know?
$9.99 a month.
Wow, that's
Plus
like-
$130.
that's like a year
Plus
ahead.
plus $130 parking
That's
fee
like
per day.
over a year, yeah.
Alright, moving on. Moving on so we can finish by 6.
Okay.
In the new business, Hector, you have anything to say about the recent derailments or any updates or?
I mean, we sort of hit some of these things.
Yeah, I think we hit a lot of these.
What did
Yeah,
he say,
whether-
wait, what did he
yeah,
say,
whether-
did he say anything about the derailments?
He didn't say.
He said he couldn't tell us, right?
I mean, it's on investigation.